What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Once again, another comparison coming at you. Now, we're going to be comparing the iPhone 11 to the iPhone 10. Now, this is so funny because to me, it's just kind of quirky and kind of goofy because this is the iPhone 10, like the number 10, and this is the 11. So these should have been next to each other, but the 10 is in between. So I don't know, kind of uncomfortable to me. Now, in my opinion, if you have an iPhone 10, you probably shouldn't get an iPhone 11 because it's a downgrade in a lot of ways. Lack of 3D touch. The screen is not an upgrade on the iPhone 11. In my opinion, though, the screen, I think I'm getting used to it. At first, I was like, I don't like it when I had the iPhone 10R. But now I'm like, it's just part of life. It's not that big of a deal anymore. For us, the people who care about, the screens and technology and this and that, I guess it's kind of a big deal. But for the vast majority of people, Apple has pretty much proven that people just don't care, really. So for me to go and sit on the screen and complain about it, it's not a big deal for a lot of people. It's a big deal for me, but if you have an iPhone 10, I probably wouldn't upgrade. But you do get some cool little things with the iPhone 11, which I'll talk about in this video. Now, I'm going to run a speed comparison. I'll do a little bit of this and that, talk about my opinions, and I'll hit on the camera briefly, but I'm going to make a whole separate video talking about the cameras and in-depth reviews just between these two. So just like I'm doing this comparison, I'm going to make a whole one for the camera itself. So what I can tell you right now is that in the used market, a used iPhone 10, which is the only way you can buy an iPhone 10, you can't buy these brand new from Apple. A used iPhone 10 still costs cheaper and costs less than a brand new iPhone 11. This one costs $699. I can probably find an iPhone 10 for less than $500 if I really tried and if I negotiated with a person, but probably around $500 without even negotiating or anything. So with that being said, this is still a couple $100 cheaper than this one, and I think these are really, really comparable devices at the end of the day. I think the iPhone 10 for me is the better device, but the iPhone 11 will technically last you longer. It's a newer device. It'll get more software variants and software updates than the iPhone 10. It's also should be faster, has additional RAM, and I guess we'll just see how much faster it is when I do the speed comparison. But in terms of the way they feel in the hand, the iPhone 10 still feels more superior than the iPhone 11. The sides, the chassis of the iPhone 11 feels more like a 6S Plus. The iPhone 10 feels very, very premium. I really like this aluminum or metal, whatever this is. On the back, you can see they look actually almost, I just realized I have the white models on both. They look almost identical, but you can see that on the iPhone 10, you do have that iPhone logo right here. The iPhone 11 only has the Apple logo centered, which in my opinion looks really, really nice. It looks just like my iPod, 5th gen or 7th gen or whatever it was. And everything else is almost identical. Of course, the iPhone 11 is a thicker phone. But it's weird though, because the iPhone 11 Pro, has a bigger battery and it's in a smaller frame. So I don't know why they couldn't have put a bigger battery in this one, but I guess I'll hit on that in a different video. But that's pretty much that. I hit on the software variants for a second as well. I'll hit on it again. I do think the iPhone 10 will still last you more variants of software. It's going to last you a very long time, but the 11 will definitely last you longer in my opinion. This one will probably get the same variants as the 10s and 10s Max, but this one probably will get an extra software variant than that. And maybe the 10s will get an extra software as well, but as far as I can tell right now, I think this one will definitely get at least one more software variant than this one. So that pretty much covers up everything on the outside. Like I said, there's no headphone jack on the 10 or 11. They're both almost identical, lightning ports on the bottom. I'm going to go ahead and do the speed comparison now. I downloaded some similar apps between these two, some apps that I think people would use the most, so you can kind of get a better idea. On the iPhone 10 though, we have the Apple A11 Bionic chip, a hexa-core CPU, as well as 3 gigs of RAM. The iPhone 11 has the Apple A13 Bionic chip, a hexa-core CPU as well. Those cores are clocked higher though, but 4 gigs of RAM. So we have an additional 1 gigabyte of RAM on here. Is it going to make that big of a difference? Yes, probably, but I've also heard that RAM management isn't the best on these newer iPhones right now, which is really, really weird. I don't understand that, but let's go ahead and see which one is the faster device between these two. Now, as you guys can tell, I don't know if you guys can tell or not, the iPhone 11 is on the right, the iPhone 10 is on the left. All the apps are cleared out in the background, so let's go ahead and load up some simple apps. Let's do Facebook, 3, 2, 1. And the 11 was just a little bit faster, but I'm glad that we're starting off with the newer iPhones being faster this time around. Netflix, 3, 2, 1. And I wasn't looking, but one of them was faster. I think you guys would be able to tell. Quizlet, 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 11 was faster there, so super happy. All right, we're kind of starting off kind of good. Dropbox, 3, 2, 1. Again, the iPhone 11 was the faster one. When I open these smaller apps and I see that kind of, difference, that's a really, really good sign in my opinion. Bofa, 3, 2, 1. And again, the iPhone 11, a little bit faster. Not as much as I was expecting though. And when I show you the multi-core score, which really doesn't mean anything, but when I show it to you, you would have probably expected a bigger difference between these two phones. And once we get down there, I'll show you. Thank you. 3, 2, 1. And the iPhone 11 loaded it up, and then eventually on the iPhone 10 we get into it. But again, like, not as big of a difference as you might expect it. And you know, for these Apple keynotes, they kind of say like, oh, it's like so much faster, it's so much this and that, but it is faster, but it's not like what you would expect. Snake versus blocks, 3, 2, 1. Like, I would expect like a way bigger difference. And even my 10 versus my iPhone 11 Pro, I didn't really see that big of a difference. Like, yes, it's opening it up a little bit faster, but is it worth upgrading just to get like a little bit of a better like speed boost? Like, not at all. Like, it's very marginal. As you can tell, gameplay for this game is almost the same. It's not that big of a game anyway. Temple Run, 3, 2, 1. And I will have to reload it on both, so let's go ahead and do that. Temple Run again, 3, 2, 1. The 11 was just a little bit faster, but it wasn't as big of a difference as you might expect. Again, like, it's so marginal. Fruit Ninja, where's that at? 3, 2, 1. And 11, again, faster. But like I said, dude, like, are you going to upgrade your phone just to get, you know, like a half a millisecond faster of opening time for your apps? Like, I don't think so. Paper Isle 2, 3, 2, 1. And again, iPhone 11 is faster, which I'm actually happy to say that it is faster, which is weird because on my iPhone 11 or on my iPhone 11 Pro versus 11 or 10, sorry, when I was comparing my iPhone 11 Pro to my iPhone 10, I saw that my iPhone 10 was kind of beating it more often than not. And now it seems like the iPhone 11 is beating the iPhone 10. So could that technically mean that the iPhone 11 is faster than the 11 Pro? We'll get into that in a second, but Temple Run 2, 3, 2, 1. And this one, as you can see, it downloaded the content, loaded it faster than the iPhone 10, and eventually we'll get into it on the iPhone 10, but shortly after. You know, not that big of a difference in my opinion. As you can tell, the game is going to be almost identical. Both are very, very good performers so far. Let's go and end it off with the Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. And again, the iPhone 10, I don't know what it is about this iPhone 10 phone, but like anytime I do a heavy intensive game, it's always faster on the 10 than on the 11. And I'm on the same versions of both these games. Like, I'm not on like an older version. These are up to date on all these apps, and I don't get it. I don't know why this is like this, but I guess that's a good thing for the 10 and a bad thing for the 11. But let me go ahead and show you guys this multi-core score now. It's not a big deal. It doesn't mean everything, but it could mean something, okay? On the iPhone 10, 250,999. That's the last time I ran it, which is probably like a week or two ago. 450,546 on the iPhone 11, which is a humongous difference, okay? That's quite a bit of difference. But do you see like almost twice as fast performance on the iPhone 11? In my opinion, I don't see it. Maybe if you own an iPhone 11, maybe you can see it, but in my opinion, I don't think there's a humongous difference between these two in terms of speed. So with that being said, I'm going to say that yes, the iPhone 11 probably is faster more times than the iPhone 10. There was a couple of times where it wasn't, but I think overall the iPhone 11 is the faster device, but it's only faster by a little bit. It's not even faster by like an amount that you would even care about or even brag worthy, because it's just marginally faster. So with that being said, that's my speed comparison. Let's go and talk about the cameras for a second. Now, the cameras are one of the biggest things that Apple loves talking about, but I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I don't really think it's like crazy. That I wish they would focus their attention on other things. But on both phones we have two 12 megapixel sensors, but they are a bit different. So on the iPhone 10, it's like you have one good thing on both these cameras. So on the iPhone 10, you have two 12 megapixel sensors, 4K up to 60 frames. Both can do 4K at 60 frames, but the secondary lens on the iPhone 10 is a telephoto lens, which allows you to zoom in more into a photo. The iPhone 11 though does not have a telephoto lens, but it does have an ultra wide sensor. So this secondary lens is an ultra wide sensor. So it's kind of funny because, you know, they both have something that the other one could have. If you combine both these cameras, you would have an 11 Pro camera. And with that being said, I'll go ahead and show you guys some quality difference between these. So this is the iPhone X's camera, and what I was talking about earlier is that telephoto lens. So as you can see, you can zoom in quite a bit into a photo, but when you zoom out, you can't get that, fisheye lens effect from this camera. So that is something you can get on the iPhone 11, but overall the quality, in my opinion, is still very, very good. I have no complaints at all. This is my main phone I use every day, and literally I have no complaints at all. It's a very, very good sensor in my opinion. However, the iPhone 11 does look a little bit better to me for some reason. It looks like it's I don't know, but as you can see, you don't have that telephoto effect. You can't do that twice zoom, whatever it is. You still have portrait mode, you still have all those things, but what you can do is get that fisheye lens. So as you can see my leg right there, but when you zoom in, you can't get that 2x zoom. So I don't know, pick your battle, but both phones have something that the other phone cannot do, which is so funny. But on the core of them, you can pretty much do the exact same things on both. So I don't think one camera is way better than the other, but I think both cameras do a pretty decent job if I do say so myself. Now let's go ahead and hit on battery life. Now, interestingly enough, I don't know what happened here, but Apple didn't really increase the battery size that much on the iPhone 11 coming from a XR. So there's a 3046 mAh battery on the iPhone 11 and a 2716 mAh battery on the iPhone 10. And I think the iPhone 11 will definitely have the better battery life here. Actually, I know the iPhone 11 will have the better battery life. You have a lower resolution screen, an LCD, which doesn't really mean anything, but a better chipset. But that extra battery and that screen really do mean a lot over time. And this one is high resolution on the iPhone 10. It also has a lot more moving parts, I would say, but I don't know, not even. But ultimately, between these two, I would probably give the edge to the iPhone 11 about having the better battery life overall. So that pretty much covers the main things I wanted to talk about. Ultimately, what I will tell you is the iPhone 11 probably is the better device. Actually, I know it's the better device. It's a little bit faster here and there, better battery life, better Face ID, ultra wide sensor, and on brand new price, it's cheaper than an iPhone 10 was on launch day. So I guess that's really, really good. And I don't hate the iPhone 11. I think this is a really, really good device, and a lot of people are going to buy it, and Apple's going to make a killing off this phone. But I think if you pull your cards just right, I think I would probably rather have a used iPhone 10 than a brand new iPhone 11 right now. And considering the fact that you can probably pick up a used iPhone 10 cheaper than a brand new iPhone 11, but on top of that, you're getting that better display, you're getting Force Touch, you're getting a telephoto lens, but you're getting an ultra-wide sensor here, so it's kind of a trade-off. You're getting that better build quality in my opinion, and even though the battery life and cameras are better here, and even the speed, I think it's marginally better. I don't think you're getting that crazy of a difference, so that's where I kind of lay. If you want to pick up a used iPhone 10, I'll find the cheapest ones on Amazon, and I'll link them straight down in the description below so you guys can pick them up from there. But that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.